Alrighty. Welcome back to another live stream. We are here tonight for a little bit of a surprise severe weather event in portions of Texas. We've got a couple of supercells out here near the San Antonio metro region, and these are going to have the very real possibility to produce a couple of tornadoes over the next several hours, and this is because of multiple factors in the environment right now. If we take a look at our surface-based instability out here, you'll notice that it's ranging anywhere between 2,500 and 3,000 joules per kilogram across the San Antonio metro. If we take a look at our wind shear values, you'll notice that they're also pretty decent, not quite as impressive, but they're still enough to fire off a threat for a couple of tornadoes whenever you have things like this much instability, and even just a couple of outflow boundaries taking place. You'll notice that the tornado threat will skyrocket in an event like that. Now, currently we do have a tornado warning in effect for the northwest side of the San Antonio metro area, including Leon Valley, Helotes, and Hollywood Park along I-10 and I-410. So if you're in this area, make sure you are seeking shelter immediately on the lowest floor of a sturdy building, away from windows and in an interior room. Currently, this supercell is tracking pretty much stationary, but it's moving very slowly after the east-southeast. I will note, we did just get a big old potentially destructive cell merger to move in on this thing, so we'll see if that enhances the rotation with it, or if it decreases it. I'm thinking it's probably going to kind of kill this supercell, but you never know with a situation like this, so we have to make sure that we are keeping our guard up. And again, if you are out here on the northwest side of San Antonio, we need you to make sure that you are seeking shelter. If you're near the Prospect Hill community or Westwood Village, anywhere to the south of Balcones Heights, or even in Balcones Heights, you guys need to be getting to your safe spot immediately. Again, we do have some broad rotation with this supercell now as this crosses Highway 16, just crossed over the West Loop 1604 North Highway, so we'll see where this goes over the next several minutes. Again, currently this supercell is it's producing some pretty decent rotation over the Helotes area. Again, you can very clearly see that rear flank downdraft on the back part of our supercell here over Hollywood Park with that very, very nice looking RFD surge. I mean, for a few radar scans, guys, this was a pretty classic, tornadic thunderstorm here. Now, is it anymore? Not necessarily, but again, we've still got that broad circulation there just southeast of Helotes, and just north of Leon Valley. So if you're out here in this area, make sure you are seeking shelter immediately. Again, this is on the west side of San Antonio, Texas. I appreciate all you guys for joining me tonight. I know that this was a very, very surprising live stream to happen again. I was not planning on doing this, but I just figured, might as well. Again, a pretty destructive supercell here with the capabilities of producing a tornado in a metro area in Texas. It's a situation that kind of warrants a live stream. So, again, currently our broad rotation is going to be located right in between Leon Valley and Helotes, right along Highway 16. Again, tornado warning going out here for the west side of the San Antonio Metroplex, or not the Metroplex, sorry, I was thinking DFW. I was thinking Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, but this is San Antonio metro area. What's going on, everybody? Hello, Misty, Angela, Sam, Henry, Vidari, Arcs. Yes, we are the, you're not the only night out. We are out here, just streaming tonight, and I just thought it would be kind of fun. And again, we do have a legitimate threat with this supercell. Now, obviously, again, the inflow is kind of being choked off by this supercell on the backside that just interfered with it, but still, that broad area of circulation likely does still exist on the south side of Helotes, just northwest of Leon Valley. And again, this almost looks like it has some deviant motion going with it. I mean, our actual area of rotation, it's interesting. It started out right to the south of Helotes, then it kind of moved off to the southeast a little bit, and now it's starting to take a little turn to the southwest, which is not a super uncommon pattern in setups like this, so we'll see what happens. But again, sometimes that is a need of concern, especially whenever you've got this in like a metro area, so we'll see what happens. And again, that's why we say that everybody in the tornado warning polygon needs to be seeking shelter, not just the areas under the area of rotation, or that we're expecting to be under the area of rotation in time. We need every single person in the tornado warning polygon to seek shelter, because again, this is moving around in a very deviant way where it's been switching directions, it's been moving at different speeds, it's, sitting over an area, it does all sorts of wacky stuff, and we don't expect that to change. And again, sometimes even a cell merger can kind of enhance that kind of activity where the area of rotation and, again, possible tornado end up taking an even weirder track. So, again, a very, very interesting situation here. What's going on, Mr. Twister? No, not a confirmed touchdown at this time. This is just a radar-indicated area of rotation, but it's not impossible that this is actively producing at least a weak tornado. Again, if it were to be on the ground right now, it would be on the south side of Helotes. Um, but yeah. Again, I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Again, we don't obviously have any chasers on this out here tonight. For one, this really wasn't expected to be a pretty significant threat, and it's really not. Again, this is a 2% tornado probability going out across portions of far southeast Texas. This includes everywhere in between Waco and Victoria, and that's just if we do end up seeing any discrete thunderstorms pop up in this environment. And I will tell you, if the storm mode was more discrete and it wasn't more clustery like this, the threat for a couple of tornadoes really actually would be quite significant, especially across like east central and southeast Texas near College Station. We would be talking about an environment that would be significant, for a potentially, decently strong tornado threat. Now, again, obviously that's not what ended up happening, and I will say if that were to play out like that, our holistic values would likely have to be much higher. If we take a look at our SRH values, you got to keep in mind, before I say this, because I brought this up last time and people were like, why is he saying 300 SRH is bad? That's not bad. Within the first 3 kilometers of the atmosphere, typically if you want to see a tornado threat, you're going to need a minimum of 250 to 300 SRH. A lot of people, whenever they hear about these SRH values, they take, the first kilometer of the atmosphere, and usually within the first kilometer of the atmosphere, you need about 200 SRH, or maybe even a little less than that if we're being generous, sometimes 100 to 150, and we've got that, but it's in very sporadic areas, and it's not widespread. The general region around here is about 50 to 100 SRH in the first kilometer of the atmosphere. So, again, it's a situation where the setup's not perfect, but it is technically possible for us to see a couple of tornadoes out here tonight. And, again, if the storm mode was better, it would be even probable, I would say. So, we're going to watch this right over the next several minutes here. But anyway. What's going on, Michael, near Castle Hills here? Where's Castle Hills at? We'll check that out. Castle Hills, I assume you're talking about Texas. Oh, wow, yeah, so you are included in that tornado warning there on the northwest side of San Antonio, so make sure that you are staying safe. Again, make sure that you are seeking shelter. The good news is, at this point, our area of rotation looks to be dying out due to this backside cell merger, as well as the motion of the rotation. It seems moving off to the west at this point, as we pointed out earlier. So you should be in the clear, but again, just give it a few more minutes. Make sure that you are staying in your safe spot. We've got people tuning in from Cedar Park, Texas. Cedar Park, let's check that out. And again, let me know where you guys are watching from. It doesn't even have to be in Texas. But Cedar Park right now, you're fine. Again, you're kind of north of the Austin metro area there, and you've got some thunder showers that are going to be encroaching on your region soon. But they're not going to be discrete enough to actively produce a significant tornado threat or anything like that. It's mainly just going to be some rain, maybe a little bit of an elevation in the winds, and potentially a little bit of lightning as well. So nothing really to worry about there. Again, let me know where y'all are watching from. Douglas County, Colorado. We've got people tuning in here from, where else? I'm in Florida right now. Watching from Earth. Wow, that's always very helpful. We got 43 people watching right now, so thank you so much for tuning in. Watching from Washington State, Florida. Awesome. So, again, if you are new here, make sure to like and subscribe. We do this every day for areas all across the country, whether it's severe weather, winter storms, or hurricanes. We've got you covered again. This was kind of just a very localized threat for a couple of brief spin-up tornadoes tonight. One of these supercells managed to become semi-discrete for a few minutes, and it was developing some concerning rotation for a very, very short period of time. Again, at this point, that threat looks to be dying down pretty significantly, and it never even really was too intense, but again, we were just kind of worried because you'll notice actually what happened here is that this supercell was struggling. As we pointed out, the SRH values weren't great, but you'll notice if you look very, very closely over the Leon Valley area, there was this little boundary that this cell interacted with, and sometimes that can make up for the lack of vertical wind shear in an area, and it definitely took advantage of that, and for a few minutes, it really managed to spin up some decent rotation, and again, that's since died out, and the tornado warning for the San Antonio metro area has just been canceled, so this is an all clear for everybody that was included in this tornado warning. However, keep in mind, you are still under a severe thunderstorm warning with the tornado possible tag on it, and if you're in this area, okay, and as I say that, they literally canceled it, alright, that's fun. Keep in mind, though, you are now under a flash flood warning, and this is a considerable flash flood warning due to the fact that these thunderstorms are moving very slowly, so you want to make sure that you are avoiding driving if at all possible, and again, especially make sure that you're avoiding driving in flooded roadways. Some of these areas north of San Antonio have likely already, accumulated close to a half foot of rain, potentially even a little bit over that in some of these localized areas near Blanco. So, again, if you are out here, make sure you are staying safe and avoiding travel if possible. I assume nobody's traveling at this hour, but maybe if you work the night shift or something like that, or you're just out late, make sure that you are taking that very seriously and avoiding travel. We do actually have a severe thunderstorm warning up in portions of Oregon. This is for a little supercell that's managed to far here. We actually did have several tornado warning storms in portions of southern Idaho and Wyoming today. This is because we did have slightly elevated instability values. Our surface cape was actually pretty, I mean, not terrible out here considering it's the Pacific Northwest. Obviously, it wasn't incredible and no confirmed tornadoes actually touched down, but it did get somewhat concerning for a few spots for a couple of minutes. But again, obviously, that was mainly driven by a wind shear potential or a wind shear threat that was driving our environment. It wasn't necessarily that the instability was super high. 4,444, now 4,445 subscribers. Chat, if we could hit 4,450 tonight, that would be incredible. We got 37 people watching. I know there's at least 5 of you guys that aren't subscribed, so make sure to do that. If you'd like to, you can become a member by clicking the button next to the chat. Members get access to exclusive videos, shoutouts at the end of every forecast, custom stickers to use in chat, and more. But again, right now, watching this supercell actually likely producing some large to very large hail near Huntington, Idaho. This is near Huntington, Oregon, right along the Oregon-Idaho state line. This is going to be crossing Highway 26 over the next several minutes north of Vail. And again, just based off of the reflectivity presentation, I'd imagine that this is likely producing some large to very large hail here just off to the southwest of Huntington. So if you are out here in this area, make sure you are moving indoors. This is going to be crossing I-84 within the next 30 to 45 minutes. Again, going back down to Texas here, it's not over for Texas tonight. I think that if we do see a couple more supercells that develop potentially some broad rotation in a discrete environment, the threat for a couple brief tornadoes still exists. We've actually got some of this moisture here coming in from the Gulf of whatever you want to call it. A little bit of rotation developing here with a couple of these supercells that have just managed to move onto shore just barely, specifically the one just off to the northeast of Refugio along Highway 77. I just noticed based off of the reflectivity presentation, you can tell early that it's taking that supercellular shape, and it could take advantage of these mergers rather than letting them destroy it. So we'll see what happens with that. I would not rule out a severe thunderstorm warning for any of these storms either, as they do look to have the potential for a big-time large hail threat there, and maybe some isolated damaging wind gusts as well. And again, flash flooding I think is going to be the biggest thing with this. Just because these storms are moving so incredibly slowly. Again, these storms are maybe moving off to the north at 25 miles an hour if we're being generous, and whenever you've got these rainfall rates with these thunderstorms of 1 to 2 inches per hour, and they sit over you for, 2-3 hours, that can accumulate very quickly, and that's exactly what happened north of San Antonio. Also, what's happening with our cluster of thunderstorms north of Killeen. Now a flash flood warning going out for the north side of the Killeen area, as well as Gatesville, Hamilton, and Lampasas, Texas. This includes parts of Highway 84 and Highway 281. Again, this is a radar-indicated flash flood warning. There's no ongoing signs of flash flooding at the ground, but it's very likely that that is going to be the case here over the next couple minutes, especially as this supercell continues to sit over these areas. Again, I mean, these storms are moving even slower. I mean, these are moving northeast at maybe 5 miles an hour, so you want to make sure that you are staying safe out here. Again, potentially a very significant flash flooding threat tonight across most of southern and central Texas. Also, a flash flood warning going out for the west side of the DFW Metroplex, as well as parts of I-20 east of Abilene. This is a flash flood warning going out for Eastland, Strawn, Gordon, Ranger, and parts of I-20. Again, these supercells, I mean, man, they just sit here. And again, even the merging can enhance the rainfall with these. They can make the rain extremely heavy with these supercells. And whenever they sit over these areas, they don't move for a good hour or two. That makes things extreme. So again, especially if you're along I-20 there, make sure that you are avoiding travel in between Cisco and Weatherford. Again, if you know anybody that may be traveling out here in central Texas tonight, make sure to give them a heads up. We did get a special weather statement for this little cell here that's popped up west of Hondo, Texas. This is currently warned for damaging winds up to 50 miles per hour and penny-sized hail. I would not be shocked to see this potentially develop some broad rotation over the next little while either, as we do have enhanced instability values out here in this area, so we'll see what happens with that. Going back up here to Oregon, again, we should have a new radar frame. We do, since the last time we looked at it. Again, still showing that large hail signal just west of Highway 26 in those pink shaded areas there. If we take a look at our vertically integrated liquid signatures, this is essentially what this is a hail tracker. Those areas that are shaded in those different colors have the greater threat of seeing hail at the time being, and those darker colors are the larger hail. Gmaw with the renewal of the 3-month Davis Does Weather Slate Risk membership. Thank you so much. W's in the chat. Thank you for that. WG Miles in the chat. Again, that's incredible. Being a member for 3 months straight. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate that. Again, W's in the chat. Thank you so much. And that will get you thrown right up there on the donation board. So let's go ahead and do that. But thank you so much for renewing your Slate Risk membership for 3 months straight. Thank you for putting up with me for so long. Should you go to sleep or be worried? I mean, it would depend on where you're watching at, but I can almost guarantee you that wherever you are tonight, there's no need essentially to be worried. Some areas may need to be on the lookout for a couple of threats, especially down in portions of central Texas. But just let me know where you're tuning in from. Again, there's no need to be worried tonight. And another $5 donation on top of that. Oh my goodness. W's for Gma in the chat. Thank you so much for the incredible $5 donation on top of the Slate Risk membership. W's in the chat, everybody. My goodness. Thank you so much for the $5 donation. That is incredible. W's in the chat. Thank you so much for that. That seriously is amazing. I really do appreciate it. So again, I'm in Bexar County. I just got a warning, but I think it expired. So yeah, we currently don't have any ongoing severe thunderstorm or tornado warnings in Texas, but if we take a look at Bexar County here again, yeah, that was the supercell that we were discussing there. It had some broad rotation with it on the northwest side of San Antonio. Again, at this point, it's no longer really rotating at all. Oh my goodness. Mr. Twister with the renewal of the 3-month membership as well. Let's go, chat. Become a member for exclusive content, stickers, and the live chat and comments and more. Thank you so much. That is incredible. W's in the chat from Mr. Twister as well. The OG. He's incredible. Let's go. W's in the chat. Thank you so much, though. That's awesome. W's in the chat for Mr. Twister. Anyway. Let's go ahead and throw you up there on the donation board as well, my good sir. Mr. Twister with the $5 dono. And let's keep going here. Alrighty. Let's go and shrink the text down. Okay. So, again, continuing to watch some of these supercells here, they do still have some broad rotation on the northwest side of the San Antonio metro, very, very broad, and again, the inflow got completely choked off by these backside supercells here that developed near Leon Valley, and Hurricane Theta with the $1 donation. My goodness. Thank you so much. W's in the chat for everybody. I mean, this is just incredible sport tonight. Thank you so much for the $1 dono. That is awesome. W's in the chat for Theta. Let's go. Thank you so much. Again, as I was saying there, what was I saying? The supercell got its inflow choked off by the backside merging cells, and what that caused is the rotation to drastically weaken, and again, it really wasn't that intense in the first place. The reason we were scared for a minute or two there is because the outflow boundary that storm interacted with looked to really enhance its presentation on both the velocities and especially its reflectivity presentation. Again, you'll notice that for a couple of scans there, I mean, this looked like it had the very real potential to have an ongoing tornado associated with it. Again, there's your classic hook echo shape. If you're not aware of what you're looking at there, here's your area of inflow poking into the thunderstorm. Again, a very impressive shape there on the reflectivity. The velocities didn't necessarily match that, but there was some broad rotation over the Holotez area for just a couple of radar scans. And again, technically it is still there, but it is very, very broad at this point, and it's basically dissipated entirely. So, anyways, going back over, check Wimberley, Texas for increasing rotation. Is that with our southeast coast storms? Wimberley, Texas. I see, oh wait, did I spell it wrong? No? I see Wimberley Place. That's not it. I don't see a Wimberley. Anyway, let's go and check up on some of these storms here on the southeast coast of Texas. Again, these currently are developing some broad rotation. Again, it's going to be pretty easy for that to happen just because of all the instability out here in this area. Again, obviously, whatever, it's 100 degrees out here today with, dew points in the 70s, even as low as the 70s. That is still enough to fuel quite a bit of instability out here in this area. If we actually go ahead and take a look, let us look at the dew point to temperature spread out here. Yeah, so again, even at, midnight, it's still 80 degrees out here along the southeast coast of Texas. And again, the dew points out here in this area at 76, so 82 degrees to 76-degree dew points. Very, very, Wimberley. That's exactly what I spelled. Oh, obviously not. Okay. So that is. I assume you're referring. What did I just pulled up my emojis? I assume you're referring just to the south of Wimberley, near the Cannon Lake area. Yeah, it looks like a couple of mergers there, a couple of showers popped up, enhancing the rotation with this. I really think that these are going to struggle to do anything, obviously, just because of a lack of being any, having any supercellular structure whatsoever. Although this was once a supercell that got swallowed by our QLCS of supercells, and for a couple of scans there, the reflectivity looked pretty impressive. So some embedded rotation there, absolutely possible. You can still kind of see your area of inflow just south of Wimberley. So we'll see what that does here over the next couple of minutes, but I don't think it's going to be anything too intense. Going back up into Oregon, this severe thunderstorm warning remains in effect here for portions of Malheur County. Again, this is going out for areas west of I-84 along Highway 26. Big old supercell that are producing some large hail. I think that's going to steeply decline here pretty quickly. I will say our lapse rates definitely help this thing out quite a bit. But again, I mean, if you take a look at your instability values out here, your surface cape, if we were to go over to that, you'll notice that they are just not really impressive whatsoever out here. It's honestly kind of a miracle that this storm's even managed to survive this long. Now, I will note that is partially due to the fact that this is not a supercell producing damaging winds. We talked about this whenever we were getting, severe thunderstorm warnings in below freezing temperatures in Minnesota a few months ago. How is that possible? Well, remember, severe thunderstorm warnings can either be driven by quarter-sized hail or greater associated with it, or damaging wind gusts up to 60 miles an hour or greater associated with it. And the storms that we were seeing in that situation were hail-driven. And your dew points, you don't want them to be super high. You don't want a super moist environment for all that large hail potential. So it's very interesting, but it led to a situation where because the environment higher up, the temperature was just a bit higher, technically, even though it was, 30 degrees, we were seeing severe thunderstorms with gorilla hail associated with them. I mean, it was a very interesting situation, for sure. But, anyway. Watching for the potential of some broad rotation developing here near Leon Valley, or hook echoes becoming more prominent again. I will say this backside supercell could still choke off that inflow there, so we'll see what happens with that, but it looks like we could potentially be talking about the threat for potentially another tornado warning to get issued here. I will say the new velocity scan just came in, definitely not nearly as impressive, but if you're out here in Leon Valley, I wouldn't quite go to bed just yet, for anybody wondering. A supercell that's managed to develop west of New Braunfels, actually looking to develop some broad rotation over Garden Ridge over the next few minutes. Potentially tightening circulation here with our cell, or our embedded QLCS rotation south of Wimberley. And our storms on the southeast coast of Texas, again, still struggling. The one just east of Highway 77 that we've been talking about for a while actually looks to be developing some broad rotation at this point. I would not be shocked if that were to intensify with these mergers coming in. And if that happens, we could be talking about the potential for a tornado warning here somewhat soon over the Victoria Highway 59 corridor area. So if you're out here in Victoria, Texas, make sure that you are staying weather aware and not quite going to sleep just yet. But yeah. We actually did have a localized severe weather outbreak here up into portions of Iowa today. If we were to turn on our storm reports, we'll go ahead and do that. Where do we go? We have to go to the little document. Okay. Here were our storm reports today from portions of northwestern Iowa, and even back into parts of central Iowa. We actually had a pretty significant damaging wind threat with our QLCS that moved through the northern part of the Hawkeye State today. Damaging winds widespread between 50 and 80 miles an hour recorded across most of the vicinity. Down trees and power lines were certainly a common occurrence. At one point, we had most of the counties in far northwest Iowa, for example, say Osceola County, with almost entirely, no power. It was a pretty extreme situation there for over a couple hours in the early afternoon time around when we posted our forecast video. We kind of mentioned, hey, this actually could be a pretty significant threat, and that's definitely what it played out to be. It was basically like it was basically August 10th, 2020's little brother. I mean, that's the best way to describe it. But by the way, we could be talking about the threat for a localized tornado event across portions of southeastern South Dakota tomorrow, as well as surrounding areas. So we'll go ahead and talk about that for a few minutes. Taking a look at the ARRR model again, if you want to get a deeper dive in this, make sure that you watch our forecast earlier today. But if we take a look at the ARRR model, you'll notice all those instability values rise up there into portions of southern South Dakota in the early evening time hours. But if we go to the 0Z run of the ARRR, you'll notice that they get much higher in kind of the late evening time hours to the early nighttime hours. If it would go ahead and load here, that would be just phenomenal. But anyway, in the early nighttime hours, late evening time hours, there are enhanced instability values between 3,000 and 3,500 can be noted across most of the southern portion of South Dakota. Taking a look at our wind shear out here in this environment, I mean, it's definitely not lacking by any means. We've got about 50 knots of shear to 60 knots of shear within the first 6 kilometers of the atmosphere. I will say our storm relative helicity has actually been very impressive with some of these areas here. Jason Booley says, "You suck." Thank you for the support, Jason. Storm relative helicity here in the first kilometer of the atmosphere. If we were to take a look at that, you'll notice, again, it's actually pretty significant, especially considering that it's South Dakota. But if we were to take a look at it here in the early evening time hours and the late evening time hours and the early nighttime hours of tomorrow, you'll notice that they are quite enhanced there across portions of southern South Dakota, obviously higher over the areas where the developing supercells are. But, I mean, you know, even in areas where supercells aren't developed, you're talking 300 to 350 SRH, which is honestly a pretty impressive setup. I will tell you what, the big problem with tomorrow's event is that things aren't going to be, for one, they're not going to be surface-based thunderstorms for the most part. They're mainly going to be elevated. And then the second thing is going to be your storm mode. I just don't see, again, we've had multiple runs of the ARRR that have been able to reach this event, obviously. Your 6Z, 12Z, 18Z, 0Z. I have not been able to see a single one that's painted very clearly, hey, this supercell is by itself, it's in the prime portion of this environment, and it's just going to rip. And I think that's going to be the main thing stopping the event tomorrow evening. I've kind of made jokes about comparing this to August 28th, and I even brought it up in the forecast. If you don't know, last year, August 28th, 2024, very, very large tornado event across portions of southern South Dakota, but it's more so because it was photogenic than anything else, and it usually happens about once every summer out here in the Northern Plains. We end up seeing either a very impressive mothership outbreak with a couple of strong tornadoes, or we end up seeing some sort of crazy derecho like event, and last year it was definitely the mothership fest, and tomorrow's event kind of looks pretty similar to it, in my opinion. Again, since then it's kind of downtrended, but anyway, I still do think that the threat for at least a brief isolated tornado does exist here across portions of southwest Minnesota and far southeast South Dakota tomorrow night. Although I think it's a localized threat, to say the least. Technically, we do have a secondary 2% risk as well out here. Kevin actually pointed this out to me. Western Tennessee doesn't look like the worst environment in the world. Let's just say that much. If we go and take a look at the 0Z ARRR once again, you'll notice that the run here actually does have some supercells moving through parts of western Tennessee in the kind of evening time hours of tomorrow, and especially even like the late afternoon time hours there. You'll see around 2, 3, 4 p.m. the Memphis metro area getting hit with a couple of supercells. I think that these are definitely going to have the potential to potentially produce a couple of tornadoes, but also significant hail. Our instability values out here are actually pretty impressive. They're ranging anywhere from about 2,000 to 2,500 at the surface level. Taking a look at our wind shear, going over to the bulk shear within the first 6 kilometers of the atmosphere, it's not super impressive, so that's something to take into account. But our SRH values actually do exist out here if we go and take a look at the storm relative helicity within the first 3 kilometers of the atmosphere. Again, it's not like super impressive, but you'll notice it does exist. Again, anywhere between 200 and kind of 250 out here in this environment, which, again, as we said earlier, is typically what you need for the development of severe thunderstorms and tornadoes. And then after that, we get ourselves a big old QLCS. And this is actually the main reason why we have the 2% risk that goes all the way from western Tennessee all the way back through portions of southeastern Texas. An embedded QLCS tornado cannot be entirely ruled out in this kind of environment. I mean, again, you'll notice that it kind of develops there in the early morning time hours of tomorrow, and then it kind of just rips up portions of the southern Mississippi Valley there with some significant damaging winds, hail. Now, currently, if we take a look at the day 2 damaging wind probability, you'll notice that it's sitting at a 5% risk. But I would not be shocked to see this get upgraded to a 15% risk at the 16:30 Z outlook tomorrow, potentially even as early as the 13 Z outlook, depending on how things are looking on the models. But we'll see what happens. For right now, it looks like a big time damaging wind threat. I wouldn't entirely rule out a live stream just because we do have that dual threat, and also I'm not super busy tomorrow. But we'll see what happens. Lee Hardiman, thank you for becoming a Slight Risk member. W's in the chat for Lee. Thank you so much. W's in the chat for Lee Hardiman. Again, members get access to early content, exclusive videos. They also get access to custom stickers to use in chat and shoutouts at the end of every single forecast video. So thank you so much, Lee, for becoming a Slight Risk member. And that, my good sir, will get you right up there on the dono board. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. Lee, thank you so much for the Slight Risk membership. Again, it's as little as $5 a month, and it really does help me out a lot. So, I really do appreciate that. Thank you so much. Alrighty. Trying to set you guys up here. Set the chat up in a way that won't kill everything. Okay. I don't know why I said that, but going back to our supercell ongoing here in portions of eastern Oregon, again, still kind of producing some small to medium-sized hail, but starting to fizzle out there over the Highway 26 corridor as we predicted. Again, our instability out here is basically non-existent, and that's why we only have a general thunder risk in this area in the first place. Again, earlier today, we had, a marginal risk of severe weather that went all the way back out to Oregon. Unfortunately, it's... Alright, bro. That's crazy. No, I mean, I'm going to be honest here. Over the summer, my sleep schedule is cooked. I mean, I've been going to bed at, like, say, 2:30 in the morning, and then I wake up usually at around noon. So, again, not the best sleep schedule in the world, but listen, man, school is draining. So anyway, again, this supercell's going to start to fizzle out here over the next several minutes, as our instability values are basically non-existent. Going back down to portions of central Texas, taking a look at our supercell just west of New Braunfels. Again, it's starting to develop some very broad rotation there, but it's got a long way to go. It's a very interesting shape. It's kind of got that omega block shape that we typically see in jet stream patterns. It's pretty interesting. Yeah, same here, Mr. Twister. But kind of check Plattsburgh, New York. It just started pouring. So we do have, I imagine, just, some convective showers up here in upstate New York right now near the Finger Lakes area. Again, going back up to the New York-Vermont state line there for Plattsburgh, you kind of got the rough end. Yeah, I mean, you really just got the short end of the stick there for that brief little downpour if you weren't wanting rain. But it'll be over within the next 5 minutes or so. Again, no sort of severe weather throw with that. Again, kind of interesting to see that these showers have even managed to evolve this far north. I suppose our moisture content's actually pretty impressive. Good morning, Pete. But anyway, I will say another noticeable broad area rotation. Again, we've been mentioning this for a while. It's definitely there, just northwest of Leon Valley, Texas. Once again, pretty much the exact same area as our previous tornado warned thunderstorm there. Again, this embedded area of rotation now in what is now a QLCS. Again, originally it was just a couple of supercells. I mean, this boundary really did just cook up all these thunderstorms so fast. And again, this now has a very clear area rotation associated with it. They're just west of Leon Valley once more. So we'll see what happens with that. Again, probably going to have to intensify quite a bit more before they issue a tornado warning or anything like that for it. Still some broad rotation here with our storm northeast of Refugio over McFadden. And again, some rotation also developing with some of our thunderstorms here along the southeast coast of Texas. Again, you got your contaminated velocities there, so that's always nice to see. How's my morning going? Alright, bro. How about South Mountain, Texas? Let's check it out. South Mountain, Texas, you currently are under that flash flood warning there, and I will say it's going to start pouring here over the next 30 minutes to an hour, and potentially even over the next couple of hours if it is not already in that area. Again, this QLCS here is just going to make it rain, unironically. No pun intended. What am I saying? It is not a metaphor. It is literally going to start raining here over the next several hours over the South Mountain area. So if you're in here, in this area, make sure you are avoiding driving in flooded roadways. Again, I assume you're not traveling at this hour, but I would also hope that you're not traveling while typing in chat. That seems like a dangerous precedent set. Missouri's fine. Nothing to worry about for Missouri. I will say tomorrow our marginal risk, no, it does not extend back into Missouri. It gets close, though. I mean, the moisture content in general technically would be enough to promote a couple of thunderstorms out here in Missouri, and our instability in this area actually does exist. Our marginal risk does extend into the far southeastern corner of Missouri as well as the Boot Heel for that QLCS event that we're expecting to sweep through portions of the southern Mississippi Valley, but just instability values out here. Close doesn't cut it, Davis. I don't know why I laughed at that. Just instability values out here in general are actually pretty impressive. You'll notice they get to up to potentially 2,000 joules per kilogram in the highest areas. And again, basically just a widespread sweep of 500 to 1,000 across most of the state. Again, we're starting to get to the time of year where every day pop-up showers and thunderstorms are going to be somewhere across the Midwest and the Dixie Alley. So we'll see what happens. No problem. Thank you for tuning in. A special marine warning has been issued now for Matagorda Bay for this supercell just southwest of Palacios. Again, it does mention the threat there for significant damage and wind gusts, and I would not be shocked if this is actually producing a water spout. If you are new here, make sure to like and subscribe. Helps out a lot. We do this every day for areas all across the country, so it'd be greatly appreciated. We do have that, wow, that little area of rotation there near Wimberley starting to become more intense. So we'll see what happens with that. I would not be shocked to see them tornado warn that. If you're near Wimberley, prepare to seek shelter if necessary. Yeah, we've got flying cows all over the place, left, right, and center. I still think that our supercell here, just to the south of our QLCS, is probably going to struggle to do much. Again, it's nice looking Omega block pattern there, though. I'm sorry, that was not funny. No, that is not funny at all. I can just hear the Tuco, get out, as I said that. Our supercell is still just chugging along here along the Oregon-Idaho state line. That's across I-84 here. So if you're here in this area, make sure you are staying indoors. I imagine they'll continue this as a special weather statement rather than a severe thunderstorm warning as this moves out of the warning polygon. Yeah. You can make sure to like and subscribe if you are new. We do this every day for areas all across the country, and it helps me out a lot. Again, donations are appreciated, but they are not in any way required. Still a relatively strong area of circulation just southwest of Wimberley, Texas. Again, not necessarily strong, but a developing area of rotation. Again, pretty clear little inflow notch there with a thunderstorm along 32 there. Yeah, I would not be shocked to see them give this a tornado warning, especially with that new reflectivity scan. I would believe it. You got obliterated by a seagull dropping at the beach. I don't know what to make of that. Um, anyway. Also, note this supercell down here, west of New Braunfels, is not actually one hugely elongated hook echo. This is a cell merger on the backside of our supercell here. This is where the hook echo stops. This is contamination. And then this is your cell merger. But again, if the cell merger were to interact, it would be too late for this supercell because it would already be swallowed by our QLCS. In layman's terms, it's not going to do much. Sometimes I forget that not everybody is quite as weird as me. Alright, Mr. Twister, that's crazy. This is a live look from the south side of Killeen, Texas. If it would load, that would just be phenomenal. Or don't. I mean, that's an option too, I guess. I just didn't think about it. No problem, Emma. Have I ever been hated on? Like in real life or in chat? I'll let you know right now the answer is yes. In chat, yeah, I mean, most of it is just people disagree with opinions and take things way too seriously. And then also, I don't know if you were here for this, but there was an age where I call it the age of the trolls. Everybody from school would just come in and just be a whole lot of fun for me and the mods to deal with. We do now have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for Palacios, Texas. This is for quarter-sized hail and 60-mile-an-hour damaging wind gusts. Again, right now the supercell's just kind of sitting over Matagorda Bay. Again, I would be willing to bet that this is likely going to ramp up a localized flash flooding threat west of Palacios, near the El Campo Club community, in Kahua. I was literally just about to bring that up, Sam. The Chicago derecho was like the peak of the trolls. At the time, that was the longest live stream I've ever done. But anyway, again, I think we're probably good to start wrapping things up here. What's up, Stiff? I appreciate all the support tonight and all the donations and stuff. I was not expecting that. Yeah, listen, I'm not like, as long as it's like it's not like offensive or, you know, disrespectful to anybody. I don't think I've ever held back one of my opinions before. I'm not afraid to say something that a lot of people are going to disagree with. That's how I'll put it. It's like the only good quality trait about me. And a lot of times it gets me into trouble, so maybe not that good. And by the way, change the title. See, I think there's a way that managing mods can change the title and other features of the stream. I don't know if they got rid of that, but I don't know. I mean, it's not impossible that we do see another tornado warning get issued here very shortly for some of these QLCS rotations near Wimberley. So I'll leave it as that, and then we'll take it from there. You can turn off chat. You can also put chat onto subscribers only mode. PA Storm Trackers recommended I do that once. Like Josh Brinker was like, "Hey, you should probably do that." I was like, I used to do it a little bit, but I'm very tired. Still got a couple more things, preferably, that I'd like to do before I head off to bed, though. But yeah, you're managing, Sam. You're like one of the only managing mods outside of like the boys and I think a few other people. What's up, Andrew? My average sleep time during the school year, realistically, like uh, probably I'd say like 7 hours, and during the summer, perhaps 9. Is there lore between Jared and Andrew? All right. So again, probably starting to watch things cool down again. The area of rotation embedded near Wimberley has fizzled out pretty quickly again. This is the type of environment where you can have a discrete supercell that's going to rotate, but they're going to struggle in a QLCS mode. Sleepy Davis. As in, I'm sleepy. I'm not that tired. Oh, you're saying I get a lot of sleep because of my schedule? Sometimes I'm so oblivious. Ugh. Throwing pretty bad in San Antonio. Yep. Yep, just going to be a whole lot of heavy rain. Again, try to avoid travel if possible. A new considerable flash flood warning just issued for the north side of the metro for I-410, Alamo Heights, and the Hollywood Park through New Braunfels area. Or I suppose that is... yeah, it's relatively new. But, again, just going to be some heavy rain. Maybe some small hail at times. Who likes Illinois? Not me. And I live here, so it's fun. No, I don't. I will say yearly Midwest summer derecho is pretty nice. Um, and oh boy, if you like corn, do I have news for you? I look like a lazy bum right now. See, Alexandra. Well, again, I would not be surprised to see a couple of brief tornadoes back in portions of South Dakota with an uptrend and a couple of features. Again, particularly the fact that the storms are elevated are a bit of an issue, but I mean, outside of that, it's not a terrible environment. South Dakota looks so mid tomorrow. Montana's the spot for real. I don't know about that one. Nothing like watching Davis at 2 a.m. That is so weird. It is 2 a.m. on the East Coast right now. And I've looked at my statistics. A lot of you guys probably didn't know this, but um, I can see what cities my viewers watch from. Well, that's why I made the August 28th comparison. I mean, again, this is the yearly summertime Dakota Mothership Fest. Um, Also, it's kind of funny. Like 1% of my viewers come from Ireland. I think that's literally just Kevin. That's kind of crazy. But yeah, I can't see specific people. Pretty sure that's illegal. I think that's just what we call stalking and doxing. Where will Davis go to college? I'm gonna be honest. I've never been like, okay, I'm not saying it's impossible, but I've never been like super set in stone that I like have to get a meteorology degree because we live in a day and age where that kind of information can be found anywhere. And I'm not gonna say what I was gonna say, but I don't want to pay my debt. That is real. Oh, it'll say any city. Like it will say towns. Um, I will say it. Don't waste the money. I mean, you really don't have to go to college to be successful in this field, at least. I mean, that's been proven by literally every single um, storm chaser in the field, I feel like. I mean, not every single one, but quite a few. University of Oklahoma. And I'm not saying it's impossible, but I feel like partially that would take away from YouTube time as well. And if I want to take this seriously, like that's got to come before going to college. No, I'm not. I'm not saying chasers are rich or anything, but even outside of the chaser community, there's plenty of people that can do this kind of stuff without a degree. Uh, Ryan doesn't have a degree. Max didn't have a degree until like a month ago. Um, Plenty others. And again, it doesn't make them any less good at what they do. Um, at least from what I've seen, a majority of, and again, that's another thing I'm not going to say. I love how I was talking earlier about how I say everything I think. Well, I'm not saying YouTube over everything, but I'm saying YouTube over everything else in the meteorology department for me. Oh, believe me, I'm not afraid of hate. Also, I'm not saying I put as much work in as Ryan, but you can scroll through all my streams. What's going on, Sydney? Anyway, isn't it even more expensive to come from out of state? Yes. Yeah, I like. It's just not. I am already like, like, I don't. I just don't feel. And I'm not saying that I wouldn't learn anything because obviously I would. I just don't feel that I would learn that much in the meteorology field in college that I wouldn't outside of college. By the way, our severe thunderstorm warning now for areas west of Palacios is warned for lime-sized hail. Big old hill core there, just east of Point Comfort. Can you see it on the CC? Nope. But if we take a look at our vertically integrated liquid signatures, you'll notice that's maxed out there over a good 5 mile swath, 7 mile swath rather. So that's the beauty of Apple. It's crazy as some people fearmonger on YouTube, fearmonger and stuff. Some people do it for profit, not with their awareness. It just make me mad because people will be told the wrong stuff and they won't have trust. And that is the big thing. Because, like, there was an article that I read today. The headline of the article was like, um, storm streamers now using AI as National Weather Service becomes useless or something like that. And I'm like, what? And I'm just like, whoever wrote that, like, they could have at least used somebody that had some knowledge of forecasting. The whole article in general was terrible, though. I read through it. Like, just the points that were made were either taken out of context or they partially were just not true. Like, they used, like, some random quote from Ryan Hall. They included like one sentence of what he said in the May 16th stream, and it whatever. Well, and the information that, AI is quote unquote giving us, it's not from them. If you ever asked AI to make like a forecast, you'll know that it's horrible. What's happening in some of those situations is the AI tools are regurgitating what the National Weather Service and NOAA and other tools are saying. By the way, strengthening rotation over Hugo, Texas. Um, little embedded area of rotation, or QLCS, has won again. Yes, 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 yes. Yeah. Well, and now Morton is, now the official data suggests Morton was under a mile wide, which is pretty wild, going from 2.2 to zero point 0.9 miles. Can we talk about the potential for a Midwest derecho soon? I've been looking. I mean, I just personally don't see any signals for it. Um, like, if we go into the GFS, again, GFS isn't necessarily, like, it's so hard to say, oh, this is going to be a derecho even 3 days out. Whenever you're talking, like, 2 or 3 weeks out, it is impossible. Tuesday? Let's look at Tuesday. That would be, uh, what day would that be? 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th? Oops. Did not mean to open up my notes. Yeah, like Essex was, supposedly the largest tornado in Iowa history, then it got downgraded to a mile. Morton was going to be like the second largest tornado in Texas history, then it got downgraded to zero point 0.9 miles. Um, what else? I know there were a couple other examples. Also, it's still wild to me that London got surveyed at a mile wide. Oh my goodness, dude, yes. Um, Gorham, Nebraska, personally, I still think that Gorham was likely the largest tornado of the year. Now, technically, according to survey data, Pittsburgh, Oklahoma was at like 1.8 miles wide. But the situation with Gorham is that there was nothing out there to hit, so it is almost impossible to know exactly how large it was. Deep TDS in Texas? Are you serious? Um, Oh, wow. Yeah, so we now have an ongoing strong tornado in Hugo, Texas. Wow. I really thought those velocities looked quite intense. So, if you were out here in this new tornado warning for San Marcos or Kyle, you need to be seeking shelter immediately. This is a significant tornado ongoing. Even potentially there's some enhanced reflectivity values due to that. Oh my goodness, yeah. Again, this is a decently significant tornado. So, if you are just east of Hugo, Texas, or even as far east as San Marcos, we need you to be getting into your safe spot. Again, preferably on the lowest floor of a sturdy building, away from windows and in an interior room. Um, Again, this is a potentially large tornado ongoing south of Wimberley, east of Hugo. You're in San Marcos, make sure you're seeking shelter immediately. New CC scan definitely has this thing weakening, but it's not enough to go off of to say, okay, it's clear. Looks like it was a little brief QLCS tornado there. I mean, that escalated very quickly, though. I mean, that is a very deep debris signature. If you know anybody in Hugo, Texas, along Purgatory Road in particular, make sure to give them a call or text, because they likely just got ravaged by Oh, this is a PDS tornado now. Wow. This is a PDS tornado warning in Texas. I did not expect that. So this is now a confirmed large and extremely dangerous tornado in Texas. Wow. That came out of nowhere. So if you were east of Hugo, again, you've got to get either underground into a storm shelter on the lowest floor of a sturdy building, away from windows in an interior room. Again, this is now a PDS tornado warning for San Marcos, Texas. Again, you've got to make sure that you are seeking shelter. Again, this is a potentially strong tornado still ongoing south of Wimberley. Again, this is a significant situation here. Again, I did not expect that at all. But this is now a PDS tornado warning in Texas. So if you're out here, make sure you're seeking shelter. Again, this is a particularly dangerous situation. This is a rain-wrapped, destructive tornado. Again, it looks to be dissipating. This could potentially be a velocity couplet handoff rather than just a dissipation entirely, but it's heading towards Kyle and San Marcos. My dad just sent me a text. I can't bring it up on stream, but that is hilarious. Yeah, definitely a brief tornado there, just east of Hugo. That is the most wild text I thought I would get from my father tonight. I'm sorry. That was hilarious. I will text you after, Mr. Twister. That is hilarious. I can't bring it up on stream, but... No, I can't bring it up on stream chat, I'm sorry. Because this... Remember how I said I will say anything as long as it's not offensive or it's, something else? Well, this definitely falls into the, oh yeah, that it'll be disrespectful towards people. This will definitely offend some people and disrespect some people. It's really not that funny, but we were talking about it earlier today, and it made me laugh. Anyway, if you're not sitting in a PDS... I might have just broke my phone. Okay, we're good. We're good. It was a false alarm. Sorry to scare everybody. Again, a PDS tornado warning remains in effect for San Marcos. Yeah, San Marcos is safe. It looks like this tornado's dissipated. But you got to make sure that you're staying in your safe spot because this could definitely develop again. Recycle. So again, I mean, this is just a good precautionary situation anyway. You know, it's best to practice to stay in your safe spot. Again, if you know anybody out here in Hugo, Texas, guys, you got to make sure they're okay because, I mean, this really looked like it was a pretty significant tornado for at least 5 minutes or so. I really hope and pray that everybody took that warning seriously, because unfortunately it came out after the tornado was already on the ground, most likely. Um, but definitely a briefly significant tornado. Um, Again, we're not, for anybody wondering, we're not going to pre-rate it just because I mean, for one, there's no point ever to pre-rate, but especially in this situation, we genuinely have no idea. Um, but yeah, definitely a briefly strong tornado there west of San Marcos over Hugo, Texas. Yeah, every second counted in that situation, that is for sure. Um, I cannot believe they went freaking PDS with that fast, though. That is crazy. Now downgraded to radar indicated, just like that. If you're new here, make sure to like and subscribe. We do this every day for areas all across the country. Whether it's winter storms, hurricanes, or tornadoes, we've got you covered. It also helps me out a lot and lets me know this is going to be a potential for a career option for me in the future. And again, God bless all you guys. Again, I really appreciate everybody that tunes in. But again, a briefly strong tornado there. I mean, that's crazy. Again, very deep but brief debris signature, maxing out the radar omega correlation coefficient product. Did it max out scopes? Because whenever you have a tornado that maxes out scopes, then you're talking very intense. So, I'd imagine it didn't, but we'll see. Yeah, it did not. But nonetheless, a very briefly but intense tornado. I did not expect that to go PDS whatsoever. I mean, I'm very glad that we went live tonight. Again, if you know anybody in Hugo, Texas, you've got to make sure that they are okay. I'm trying to find information. I doubt we're going to see anything, though, because it's 1 o'clock in the morning. I mean, thank God that we were still live, because I really was thinking about ending like 30 minutes ago. Again, it's not even like that was like some sort of catastrophic situation, but it was just a very strong tornado that happened in a very, very quick time manner that, the warning didn't quite come out properly for in time. And that's not necessarily the fault of the National Weather Service. These QLCS rotations are always tricky, but I hope that we were able to help some folks out. I know we've got viewers in this area right now, and we were calling out this rotation. So I really hope we were able to help people out tonight. Um, Again, if you know anybody in Hugo, man, you've got to make sure they're doing okay. Again, it wasn't a, super violent tornado or anything, but I can imagine the construction on a lot of these homes out here aren't super great, just because it's Central Texas in an unincorporated community. And again, that was a very large debris signature. Again, velocities were very tight and strong. So, at least for a brief period of time. Dude, oh my gosh, dude, that was so sad. I literally like Gary England was a freaking hero. He was a pioneer in the modern day weather community. He was a pioneer. So rest in peace to Gary England. I mean, that's just horrible. Again, I pray for his family that they're doing okay with his loss, with their loss rather. Again, that's awful. But the good news is, he died of natural. By the way, tornado warning is lifted. As rotation continues to broaden out. He died of natural causes, next to his loved ones, at the age of 85. So he lived a very long life. And I mean, that's honestly the way that I think a lot of people. I mean, obviously, most people don't want to die, and most people have a very real fear of dying, and a very legitimate one. But I think if a lot of people had to choose how to go out, I think that's what a lot of people would choose. So that's really the only silver lining in that story. But again, I mean, he legitimately saved. At the least, he saved several hundred lives, and at most, I mean, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands. I mean, it's crazy the influence that he had. So again, rest in peace. Again, the greatest and most influential TV weatherman of all time. So, again, it's sad to see him go, but it was just his time. And I mean, again, it's he died of natural causes next to all of his loved ones. So, um, again, we're likely not going to get any information from Hugo, Texas tonight, just because it is 1 o'clock in the morning, and this is literally an unincorporated community in Central Texas. If you're new here, make sure to like and subscribe. Again, we do this every day for areas all across the country. Again, literally nobody else was live here tonight other than us. So, make sure to subscribe. Again, I appreciate all you guys for tuning in. It really does mean a lot. Again, God bless. But again, I think that's probably about it for tonight. So I appreciate all you guys for tuning in. I will update you guys on my community tab on what we see out of Hugo. Um, but that's about all there is to say. So thank you all for watching. Oh my goodness. Vincent is going to be so mad. So mad. Oh my goodness. I do not want to talk to Vincent tomorrow. He is going to be absolutely livid. He is going to be so mad. The joke is that this happens to him literally every time, because it does. It's awful. He is going to be so upset. I'm not even kidding. Oh my goodness. He is going to be so frustrated. Also, I should be frustrated. What did I do to deserve this? Anyway, in all seriousness, thank you all for watching, and I will see you guys all in the next one, whenever that is. Peace. I said it way too early. Peace.